And we are live. Hello and welcome to another episode of the MMK Show. Today we're going to be talking about a very, very special service. Actually, not one, but two new services that we are launching. And these services are really going to make your sourcing, your importing from China process extremely, extremely efficient, effective, and you're going to love these two services. Marg and Kevin, how are you guys doing today?
Very well. Haven't been on
Yeah,
here for
good.
a
Thanks,
while.
Megan. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? We've been so busy with the sourcing trip, India sourcing trip a couple of weeks ago, and then preparing for the next trip even before the first
Yeah,
the previous trip
all
And
happening.
finished.
you've been in Thailand as well.
Exactly. Thailand was absolutely great. Mike
Yeah.
McKinley put on a great conference over there, so very productive. Met quite a few interesting people, and now we got Vietnam coming up as well next
Oh
April.
yeah,
Vietnam sourcing
working
trip.
on that. That's all underway. Everything's happening. Booking restaurants and all sorts of things. So we're going.
Exactly. Okay, so let's see who's on here. If you guys are watching us, drop us a hi and hello. It looks like there's an error on the Facebook live stream. I'm not sure what's happening, but if anybody's on Facebook, can you just let us know if you can see us? I'm getting an error over here. It is live streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn, but I think some of the Facebook pages, especially the group, it's not live streaming in the group. Allison, hi, how are you?
Hi, Alison. That happened
Alison
last time, too,
Dale's
Megan,
there
from
as
memory.
well.
Yeah, it's not live streaming in the group. Okay, we'll see. All right, so let's get started. We have some slides prepared. So we are going to share these slides and let's get started. So where is this all coming from? Now we've been doing India sourcing for how many? Like 4 years now?
Isn't it? Now, yeah.
2019. Yeah, exactly. 2019 we started. And so we've, of course, engaged with so many people in the community over the last few years. And there are just so many challenges that people have told us that they have been facing when sourcing from India. So, we sat down and we thought, okay, how can we really help solve these challenges? And so let's just go through what some of the challenges were that people, are facing. And then we'll talk about how we are trying to help with those challenges. So the number one challenge that quite a few people face, especially when they are just starting out, they're not really familiar with the sourcing process, and they're not really familiar with the products that they're sourcing. They don't know what can really go wrong. So quality assurance. So many people have quality issues when the product reaches the Amazon FBA facility or wherever it's supposed to be delivered. Then they find out that there are some quality issues. So that was one challenge that we've seen people face. The second is time management. And this is specifically, in India, sometimes suppliers can be a bit lax. And I'm sure Kevin will agree, even when we go to India, when we come to India on India
Yeah,
sourcing trip, the pace is much
if you go to
slower,
India,
right, Kevin?
everything is on India time, right? But if you, I mean, in Marg and I's experience with sourcing, we don't have a problem with timely, our products being ready in a timely manner because we set them.
Yeah.
We set goals and we set time things down, and so we never really have that issue. But new people that don't really understand the culture, it can be rather challenging. But you know, Mark, you sort of
Well, I think you've
know,
got to understand the process, really. I mean, when
yeah,
you first
yeah,
order a product, you have no idea how it's really made. The challenges they have, all the different, components that go into it, the processes. And I think some people have also unrealistic, expectations of how long it's going to take. But I think once you've been and you see products being made and you understand, and I think that's why people struggle with time management as well as, if you're onto it. And I mean, I sort of, because we've been dealing with India for so long, to go back to the manufacturer regularly and keep asking for photos as it goes. But it's a bit of work, and it's something that you've really got to put a lot of time and effort into to keep on top of it.
And it's also a good idea. Sorry, Magla. It's also a good idea to keep in touch with your supplier or manufacturer. That you know when they're going to get busy. You know when their lean times are. You know when their real busy times are. You know when the holidays are coming. And don't forget their staff too have holiday times and a little bit of time off here and there. So I mean they have like a calendar set in place for for extra staff, and that's it.
So you really need to learn to know a lot.
Yes, you do.
Exactly. So time management is one issue. Then delayed response time. I think this is also related to the previous, I have a point, but this is something common, especially when you're reaching out to the supplier for the first time. They don't know who you are. They don't know what to expect in terms of order volume from you. Are you just somebody who's looking for maybe sourcing, 500 pieces, and if it's a one-time order, or if you're somebody who's going to source in containers and who's going to, give them continued regular business? Because most suppliers do want regular business. They want repeat orders from, the same customers. So they don't know who you are. And that's one of the reasons why there's delayed response time, because they're still trying to vet you, just as we are vetting suppliers. Suppliers are also vetting us. So I think that's another issue that people face. And then negotiating. I mean, in India, suppliers are so flexible. They are willing to negotiate with everything, but you need to know how to negotiate with them, what to negotiate, when to negotiate. And a lot of people are just unfamiliar with that because they don't have a lot of experience in sourcing. And I know Marg, you'll say that don't negotiate too much, right? Because you don't want to put too much pressure on the supplier. But at the same time, you do want to, make sure that you're getting a fair price, right?
Well, that's it. I mean, I think it's a happy balance. But I mean, if you're just going in and asking for 200 pieces, it's pretty hard to negotiate without knowing really what the product is actually worth. Because I mean, when you start out, I know, when we first did our first order, for Amazon, I didn't have a clue whether it was going to cost me $1 or $10, because until you actually go through the process, you assume about what you think. And I mean, people say to me, oh, it's only worth $5. And I know in my mind it's going to be 10, because you know what's involved in the materials and all the work that goes into it. So I think a lot of people can be unrealistic. So it's sort of hard when you're starting out to go in and start negotiating, unless you're going to come back and say, look, I'm going to do a couple of containers a year, or I'm going to do so many pieces every few months. Then is the time to negotiate. You wouldn't start from scratch, I think. So but every case is different. Once again, every product, you might have a supplier who is asking higher prices, expecting you to drop that price. And when you're inexperienced, you just don't know that.
Right. Okay. And then another challenge that people have told us is high transportation costs and high shipping costs, actually, I should say. And that's specifically for small orders. So, when you're just starting out, or if you want to just maybe test a product, this has always been a challenge. And there has really been no service that allows you to ship smaller quantities at a competitive price. So we have a solution for this, and we're so excited about this solution. And I'm sure a lot of people in our community are going to absolutely love and appreciate this service. Okay. I think another challenge is product customization. So if you do have your own design, and if you if you want a product to be customized, maybe you've got a patent on it, sometimes going back and forth with a supplier can be very time consuming. It can be very cumbersome, because there's just so much going on, and then you're doing multiple samples. That can take a lot of time as well. So we found that product customization can be a challenge when sourcing from India. Right. MP is asking, what about small orders? Yes, small orders too. So MP, can you clarify, are you talking about shipping small orders or actually placing small orders? Okay, let's keep moving here. But fear not, we are here to help solve these challenges for you and help you source with more confidence, more effectively, and more, um, at a competitive price. So MP is saying we have problems even getting suppliers to respond to your calls, texts, or emails. Exactly. Yes, that is 100% correct. And we have heard the same issue that others face because suppliers are also vetting us and they don't know who you are. And I think Indian suppliers are just they've just got so much going on. They're not very well organized. Like in China, you'll have so many different sales executives that cater to buyers inquiries, but in India there's a generally a smaller team, maybe a couple of people who are catering to buyer inquiries, and so responses are delayed.
But I also think there, Megla, that sometimes it's whether some of the suppliers or manufacturers take your orders seriously. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, if some people say, "Yeah, I want 10 or I want 5 of something," I know you're looking at the sort of sample sort of stage, but you're still going to
Yeah.
make yourself look like you're a genuine buyer and not sort of wasting their time or just hibbity flibbity, sort of thing. You've got to go in there with and wake them up. It's like get the alarm clock going and wake them up and say, "Hey, come on, I'm really serious here, guys." Rattle the cage a bit, and but I've sort of heard and seen some people, but I think some people don't go in, sort of really convincingly at first. If I can use that word, Megla, would you say that would probably be, you know, you've really got to sort of show up, It's if you're going to the wedding, you need to get dressed for the occasion, right? So
Yeah.
if you
Totally agree with that.
fail,
Yeah. And
yeah,
yeah. And I mean, if suppliers, again, don't know who you are and if they're not sure that you are worth their time, they're not going to reply to you. That's just a fact. I mean, if they see, a big company like Kohl's or Walmart or whatever, they're going to reply immediately. But if they see a small company with a Gmail email address, right, that's going to be a problem. So MP says, placing small orders. I met them at the Delhi fair and we agreed I will buy the product, but now I cannot get a call back from them. Yeah, MP,
mm,
this is very common. This does happen. And sometimes, it really helps to have somebody local call them up. Like Indian suppliers are really bad at replying to emails. So you just have to pick up the phone and call them and just keep following up with them again and again. I think we found that's something that just works really well. You have to keep just pestering them. And then finally
but
they're like, oh my God, I better work on this order before this lady calls again.
MP, what country are you from? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah. Yeah. What country are you from? Let us know. Okay, so let's keep moving here while MP replies. So, what is the solution that we are offering to you guys? It is called Done for You India Sourcing. Now, previously, you guys know that we have been a B2B sourcing platform. We have been doing sourcing trips, but we have not done the actual sourcing ourselves, right? We have always, referred to you to different agencies. We have partners, but now India Sourcing Network is going to be offering a Done for You sourcing service. So we are going to function like a sourcing agency. So can we have some claps for that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
We should have had some music and fireworks when we announced this
Yeah.
stuff.
But in a
But
nutshell,
yeah,
Megla, we're going to have total control, whereas before we didn't sort of have total control. And then people would come back to us and say, "Hey guys, I couldn't get them to, whatever, just a couple of things that we just, a step back we were talking about." But we have total control now, and we can. I think that we can keep the engine ticking over. If something sort of stalls, we can restart it and then sort of put the key back in, get the engine going again, and make sure that things are sort of happening. Because if it stalls for too long, inevitably it's going to stop. I mean, if
But
you can
I
keep the
agree
engine
on to
ticking
that. That's
over
the idea, to have the
and
team
sort of
following up.
keep it going, and we've got people on the ground in India, we can sort of make it happen. And I really believe that, and so you ladies do as well. And we can keep knocking on the door. We can keep, sort of finding. And if you're even looking for new things to source, new items that you think maybe that India can't source, let us have a go. I mean, we're uncovering new things all the time, and as you know, India is so big, so diverse. It's massive, guys, and there's new businesses all the time in textiles. Lots of sports things. It's you're uncovering so much all the time. So not you can't say no to anything. I don't believe in India, Megla, because when we've said no, the next week we've sort of found something, haven't we?
Exactly. So let's really talk about what this service entails and how you can benefit from it. So this is basically your gateway to a seamless product sourcing experience when importing from India. So we manage the entire sourcing process, and our commitment is really to managing quality and timely delivery, because those are the two biggest challenges that we found people facing. So when we do the sourcing, those are the two things that we're going to focus on: ensuring that you've got quality product and that your deliveries are on time. And we're going to manage the entire end-to-end process, starting from finding the supplier to negotiating the prices and other things, to prototyping, creating samples, placing the order, following up on the order, and quality control. Most importantly, quality control. We will visit the factory as many times as needed to ensure you get good quality. If you're sourcing directly from a supplier, you have to use the services of a third party QC company, and they charge per man day. So if something goes wrong, then you have to send the person again, and you have to pay another $250 for an inspection for a day. But with our service, whether we have to visit the company once, twice, three times, it's our responsibility to manage quality. So you don't need to worry about how many times an inspector or our sourcing specialist is going to visit the factory. So that's one huge advantage.
I think too, the fact of sampling. I mean, I know if you've got an idea of what you want and you think that that's it, and you explain it to a factory and they make it and it's not right, and they ship it over to you, whether you're in the States, Australia or UK, you've lost probably a month and you've spent all this money, because getting samples is quite expensive, having them shipped. It always works out quite costly. So if you do that 2 or 3 times, you could lose, by the time you get round to it, 6 or 7 months just to get a sample. Whereas what will happen, our team will make sure that the sample is as near as they, because it's very hard. I mean, sometimes people can't put in, writing what they really want, and they might have a different perspective. But if you tell us some specs of exactly what you want, then we can jump on as it's ready, a Zoom call, and say, now, the quality's fine, everything's fine. Does this look like what you're picturing? And I mean, there's no point in us shipping you a sample until you agree that that is really what you want, because that's just more time and money lost. So I think that's a huge advantage for most people, is that sampling can just take you forever to get it right. And I think perhaps too, sometimes some of the factories just want to make what they want to make. But if we have somebody from the team, they know, like if it's made with wood, how it should be glued, should it be screwed, things like that. So if they see the sample is not the way they believe it should be actually manufactured, they will go back and say, no, it needs to have a screw, or it needs to have glue, whatever it needs. So those things are all going to be ironed out before you get that first sample. So I think that's
you'll also find, guys, that some of our within our team, they'll come back to you and say, hey guys, can you put a tech pack together, especially for apparel, or say a bag, or a backpack, or whatever. But to have a tech pack, it gives you all the things that to do with that particular product. The size, the length, the width, the whole, the colors, the stitching. A tech pack. If you're a serious contender, a tech pack's the way to go, because the tech pack really is, they replicate your tech pack into your sample. and then you can know if your tech pack's not right and it's only a sample, then you've got to up your tech pack to make the difference. But your tech pack is always stays with the manufacturer, and they make that particular product to those specifications from the tech pack. So for those guys sourcing, different types of products, a tech pack is the way to go.
Right. So why should you choose India Sourcing Network's Done For You service? First of all, streamlined import process, because we manage everything. So all you need to do is tell us what your product requirements are, send us your specifications, any packaging requirements, and then we take care of the rest. Cost-effective budget utilization, so we can manage your costs in a better way, whether it's saving costs shipping multiple samples or negotiating with the supplier, because our team knows what is the best price for a specific product. And so if the supplier, quotes you a higher price, we'll be able to get you the best price for that product. And also, as we said, quality, that is another huge advantage. So who is this service for? So first of all, if you are a new importer and you don't know where to start, this is a great service for you, because we walk you through the process, or we actually do the sourcing for you. So you don't have to worry about, okay, what should I check? What can go wrong with this product? Or what sort of quality issues I can face when I'm sourcing this specific product. You don't have to worry about all of that, because we take care of that. So it's really good for new importers. It's also good for people or companies that want to outsource their sourcing. So sourcing is a function of your business, just like PPC is, or image optimization or listing optimization. Sourcing is also one of the functions. If you want to focus on other aspects of your business and you don't want to focus on sourcing, then you can outsource it to us. So this is also for you if you want to, optimize your business processes and outsource the sourcing process. If you're a large brand and you want to import products from India, then this is a great solution. So we're not only catering to Amazon e-commerce sellers, we're catering to anybody who wants to source products from India, including large brands and retailers. Also, if you're sourcing multiple product categories from different suppliers, it can be very helpful to use this service, because you have one point of contact. And then our team goes and talks to multiple suppliers and consolidates all of the information and the samples for you. And then you don't have to worry about following up with, 5 different suppliers. As it is, following up with one supplier is tiresome. I mean, imagine having to follow up with 5 different suppliers. So if you are sourcing multiple categories, or if you're even sourcing multiple products or parts for one product from different suppliers, let's say you're doing maybe a candle stand. So the candle can be from one supplier, the candle stand can be from another supplier, and maybe you have a bag that's from a third supplier. So if you're having to deal with multiple suppliers, then this is great. Also, if you're already sourcing from India and you're facing quality issues and delays, then we can come in and help you with this as well. Anything else you'd like to add here, Marg and Kevin?
Well, I just think too, a lot of people don't realise how much work and time involved, and particularly India is like 5.5 hours behind for me. So, I mean, if I want to speak to the supplier, I need to wait until later in the day, because, they're not they're just probably getting up now and starting to open, even if they're open yet. And, if you're in the States, it's different again. So, I mean, a lot of people still are working a job 9 to 5 or whatever, and then they've got to try and do this when they get home at night, and it might not be convenient to try and ring the supplier from the States, when you get home from work and you put the kids to bed and you're now focusing on your business. So I think this can save a lot of time. And whether you're new, or I know some people who have been doing a lot of sourcing in India already, and they're now starting to use this service because it saves them time and it saves them money, because they don't have to worry about the QC. They don't have to worry about, is the product, where is it at? We handle it all. So they've then got their time to focus on something else, another arm of their business, or just not have to, come home from a full-time job and try and work by night and by day. Because some people I speak to, I often wonder how they do it, because, I mean, at the end of the day, the last thing I'd want to be doing at 9 o'clock at night is trying to get on the phone with the supplier and sort out a few issues. So I think it's probably...
I did sort of recall even years ago, Marg, when we very first started in e-commerce, I used to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes,
Yeah.
dealing with, you know, sort of China and Korea, and because of all the time differences. I mean, but after a while, the candle burns out and on you, sort of just get a bit tired of all that. And so, you know, doing it this way, you know, you can do this, and with a lot less hassle, and you know, don't have to worry about the time zone, you know, being forwards, backwards, whatever, and it'll work out much better.
Right. Okay, so what is the benefit for you as an importer? Time saving end-to-end import process, cost efficiency, and target cost achievement. So this is another thing that we can help you with. You know, if you have a specific target price for a product, let's say you want to sell a wooden tray, and the maximum retail price of the wooden tray should be, you know, let's say $60. So we can work backwards and help you really determine what the sourcing price should be so that you're profitable. Because when you're selling at Amazon, you've got so many different costs that you have to take into account. And if your sourcing cost is not, you know, low enough, you won't have enough margin to be profitable. So we can help you maximize your sourcing cost, and we can help you achieve profitability by working backwards and by telling you that, hey, you want you know, your retail price to be $60, so we can go back and source a product for, let's say, $10, and this is what you get in $10, right? So maybe you don't get, we can decrease the thickness of the product, for example, to maybe reduce the price, or maybe use a different finish that is more cost effective. So we can guide you and we can advise you on how to modify and change the product so that you can actually achieve your target cost price so that you can be more profitable. Of course, we manage quality, and all of our experts, our sourcing experts, are experienced in their own fields. We've got you know, people who are experienced in metal and wood and apparel, garments, leather, fashion. So we've covered a huge range of product categories. And of
Glass.
course, glass. Yes, Kevin is the expert in glass now.
Me and Kamud.
Yes, exactly. And stress-free business logistics. Mark, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe the target sourcing price? Because I know you're very particular about profitability, and if you're not
Yeah.
making a profit in the business, like, why are you even doing this?
Well, I just think before you start, like, you should have in mind and hopefully done your own research and thought, right, this is the product I want to sell and this is the going rate. And if we're on Amazon, which the costs are becoming a lot higher, and it is becoming much more important to make sure that you're on the target price. I believe that, you know, even when you come to us, you should say, I want this, and I can't afford to spend more than $10 on it or something, because if, you know, we could spend ages doing a sample and it comes in at $18, well, it's wasted time for everyone because you've got nothing, because it's just not achievable. So I think the sourcing agents will be able to help you in the fact that they will know roughly that price. If, you know, you say, I want this, you know, great big, you know, beautiful thing, and I only want to spend $10, and they know that the going rate's 15 or something, we're not even going to start the sampling, because we're going to explain to you that you're not going to get anything that's, you know, not cheap and paper thin, and it's just not going to sell. So I think, you know, you really need to do your homework. It's no good spending all this time getting samples done and finding out that, you know, your product's $15 and you can never achieve that with all your Amazon costs. So I think you've got to go back and use the calculators that are available on Amazon or Helium 10, whoever you want, or you're using, and make sure that there is enough meat in that for all the costs involved. So I think that's something that is important, and otherwise you're just working and everyone else makes money, except guess what? The person at the end gets nothing, and you're the person at the end. So, you know, the shippers made money, the manufacturers made money, the packaging man, everyone's made money, and Jeff Bezos has made the most. He's probably made 40% out of it. So that's really something that you really need to get yourself, your head around, and it's no good thinking that, oh, I'm going to, sell this. And you've got to watch, because some of the niches, particularly if it's like a niche where there's a lot of Chinese sellers, then they can decide that they're all going to have a little price war, and before you know it, and you were thinking it was going to be $60, and you go live and they've all dropped the price to $40. That's happened on a couple of my products that I did. I thought I'd be able to achieve a lot more, and I did for the first few months, and then it was all the Chinese people just started reducing their prices. And obviously when you look at their sort of on the calculator, they're not making any money, so I don't know why they're still doing it, but it's a fact of what happens. So if you're in a really competitive niche where there is a lot of Chinese products that look very similar to yours, or in that same sort of niche thing, just be extra careful on your costings on those as well.
Fight to the death.
Exactly. So MP is asking, how much do you charge for all these services? MP, we're coming to that. It's the next slide. So another advantage of using our service is that you stay in control. And how does that happen? So first of all, once you tell us what product you want to source, we go out and find the supplier. And once the pricing works out and you're ready to move forward, we'll sign an agreement with you. And then if you want, we can also get you to talk directly to the supplier. If you want to maybe go visit the factory as well, that is a possibility too. So we are transparent about who exactly the supplier is once you have confirmed that you want to go ahead and place the order. Of course, we'll have an NDA in place and NNN agreements and everything, so you can also be assured that your product designs and everything are completely safe. And then once you have done 3 orders via us, if you want, you can work directly with the supplier. So sometimes what happens is that, initially it takes some time to get the supplier to get the quality and everything right. And once they have understood that, sometimes it gets easy for them to just produce the product on a regular basis, for repeat orders. So if you want, after 3 orders that you do via us, you can start working with the supplier directly. That is an option. And when you work with the supplier directly, if you want us to maybe jump in and do some, quality inspections, maybe just do a final inspection, or maybe do some follow-ups with the supplier, we can still do that for a fee. And but you're generally just working directly with the supplier. So this is something that other sourcing agencies do not offer. This is very exclusive to us, because we want to be as transparent as possible. A lot of other sourcing agencies just lock you in, and they say that you can't meet the supplier, you don't know who the supplier is, and we're going to do all the sourcing for you. You can't work directly with the supplier. So we didn't want to do that. We wanted to give you guys more control over the entire sourcing process. Okay, our team. So some of the people on our team you're already familiar with, and we have integrated those team members into our India Sourcing Network. So Kumud, for example, Gunjan, they're from, Subsource, so they are integrated into our team, into the India Sourcing team. They have India Sourcing email addresses, and they're part of our team. Rajat and Ajit, they're from Panoramic Sourcing. We've got other, sourcing experts as well. And Sajita is also one of our sourcing experts who's got over 25 years of sourcing experience. So a lot of our team members have worked with big brands like H&M, IKEA, Pottery Barn, and overall, our team has over 100 years of cumulative sourcing experience. So we've got a lot of experienced team members on this team who can, really help you with your sourcing. What products we can source? So basically any products that India specializes in, we can source. And typically for, retailers or Amazon e-commerce sellers, this is wooden products, metal, apparel, ceramics, leather, furnishings, eco-friendly products, packaging, and more. So basically any product that India specializes in, we can do. And we'll be very transparent with you. If India is not competitive at a specific product, we'll tell you that, hey, go to China or go to Vietnam. In fact, we also have a done for you service in Vietnam. We are gradually expanding our team over there, and we can also source products from Vietnam. So just quickly, what does it include? The entire sourcing process, from supplier identification to product development, advice to negotiation, sampling, quality assurance, packaging and labeling support, on-site factory visits, and coordinating with the freight forwarder. So this service does not include the shipping, but we can help advise you on how to do your freight. If it's a large shipment, then there's a certain way that you do it. If there's a smaller shipment, we also have a service for that. So I think we've covered this, but it's a tailored solution. So we really try to understand your specific requirements, your specific needs, because a big retailer has different requirements than maybe a small company that's just starting out. And of course, it's a transparent process, so you actually know what's really going on. You get regular updates about what's going on in the sourcing. We've already mentioned this, a lot of experience sourcing for really big companies and managing quality for them. So what do we charge? So this is going to answer your question as well, MP. So we charge 10% of the sourcing of the order value as our sourcing fee, and the minimum is $500. So, if your order is less than $5,000, you still need to pay $500 as a sourcing fee. But otherwise, it's 10% of the sourcing, of the overall order value, excluding shipping, of course. So I think this is a very, cost effective, and it's a nominal fees if you consider the fact that you don't have to pay additional for, shipment inspections, pre-shipment inspections, which can cost $200 to $250 per man day. And if something goes wrong, you might have to do multiple inspections as well. So I think this is quite cost effective. What do you think, Mark and Kev?
Oh, definitely. I mean, just the QC alone. I mean, if you want to do, particularly if you want to have the raw materials inspected, depending what you're actually sourcing, and you do 2 or 3 inspections, you've probably spent more than $500, just on those things alone, without all the going back and forwards and, dealing with packaging people and all the other things that, will be all done for you. So I think, and it gives you time to do something else in your business and focus on, running the business. And I think, that's what a lot of people don't do. They just do a lot of running around rampant, doing everything, but don't really stop and look at the business and the profitability and take into account all those things as well, which is probably more important in a way to make sure you're profitable.
Yeah, very cost effective. What I was going to say, it's a great model. I mean, that's why we're sort of putting it out there, guys. And the people that we know in the background, we know that they've got the the skills and the experience to back this up as well. So, what else can I say?
Exactly. And I mean, considering the amount of time and effort this will save you, it's extremely nominal, because you don't have to sit there following up with the supplier again and again and worrying about, oh, the supplier is not responding to me, because we go out to the right supplier that's relevant for your specific product and your order volume. A lot of times suppliers don't reply because they are either not the right supplier for your product, or they are too big or too small for you, right? They're not the right fit. But our team has connections with hundreds and thousands of suppliers on the ground here. So we immediately know which supplier is right for which buyer. Because if you are maybe, just looking for small orders, we won't go to a very big supplier because they will not entertain your small orders at all. We know that. So we will go to a smallish kind of company that we know will be more flexible with small orders. If you're looking for maybe, a specific material, we will go to a supplier that specializes in that material. Sometimes when you're looking at suppliers online, it's difficult to say, it's difficult to tell what exactly they specialize in. Are they really specialized in, metal or wood? Because suppliers usually offer a variety of products, but their core expertise is in 1 or 2 materials. So again, because our team is here on the ground, we visited the factories, we know what specialization each supplier has, and we go to the right supplier. And we've got relationships with these suppliers, so they will reply to us. They might not reply to you because they don't know who you are, but they will reply to us because they know that, hey, India Sourcing Network is giving us business, and we know they are here, and they are a legitimate business, so they will be more responsive to us as compared to somebody they don't know who's just emailed them out of the blue, or maybe sent them an inquiry via their website.
And plus that we've got boots on the ground in nearly all the regions that we speak about, haven't we, Megla? And on a weekly basis, we'd have people in various regions traveling to and fro from, so Moradabad or to Jaipur, or, so, as I said, India is a big place to cover. And even in the south, we've got people in the south now, haven't we? With, and yeah, what?
Exactly.
So
So we've
most
got people everywhere.
on
Yeah,
the
in
ground.
Karur. So
Yeah,
if you're,
yeah,
yeah, if you're looking for, if you're looking to source cotton products, cotton knitted products from Karur, we've got people there. In the north, all of the handicraft clusters, Moradabad, Jaipur, Firozabad for glass, leather, all of these products. And if we don't have a person there, then we send somebody to, do the QC and vet the supplier.
yeah.
So we've already started doing this. We've started offering this service. It was in beta for a couple of months, and we've already, done a few projects for different clients. And we've also brought clients to India to meet with factories. So this was a sister, two sisters who were looking to source apparel products, and we brought them to India, to Jaipur. They wanted to see some factories over there. So we organized a private sourcing trip for them, and we did the sourcing for them as well. So they were pretty happy with the overall service and how we managed the entire process. So I think the important thing to keep in mind is that our team understands sourcing. We've got a lot of experience in all of these different product categories. We've got a lot of supplier relationships, and that makes the process seamless for you guys. So yes, so that's our big announcement, and we would love for you to try this service. If you are already sourcing products from India, all you need to do is go to this webpage, indiasourcing.net/done for you, or you can even email us at info@indiasourcing.net. Just let us know what your sourcing needs are, and then we will take care of the rest. So the URL is also being displayed here on the screen, indiasourcing.net/done for you. So let us know in the comments what you guys think about this new service. Allison, very exciting. Great
Thanks,
team.
Alison.
Awesome. Thank you,
Yes.
Allison. Okay, so that's India sourcing. That's done for you, India sourcing service. You can go to indiasourcing.net/done for you. There's a form on the page that you will see where you can enter your product requirements. And we can also manage small orders. MP, to your question earlier about small orders, again, because we know which suppliers are willing to do small orders, we'll go to the right supplier for you. So that makes a huge difference, just knowing which supplier is the right supplier. Okay, so let's move on. So that's one service, and we also want to talk about another service that we have launched. So we're not done yet. We have more for you guys. So for this, I'm going to hand things over to Marg. Marg, go ahead.
Thanks, Megla. Yes, look, something that has been like on my radar to do for a long time is shipment consolidation, particularly for people doing smaller orders, because so many people go through the process and get their product made and then go to get their shipping quote and find out that it's so expensive to ship, 1, 2, or 3 cubic meters of, whatever goods you've got into the US. It just blows your cost. If you've only got 200 items and you'll find your shipment might be $1,200, that's $6. That's probably the margin you had left just being chewed up in that shipping, because it's hard to get a cost when you very first start if you don't know how much you're actually going to ship and the size and things like that. So I think it's something that is going to be a great benefit to a lot of people who probably up to about 4 or 5 cubic meters would be the maximum of the small shipment service. If you get higher than that, you'll probably find the mainstream shipping works out to be as cost effective. So it's something you would need to do an exercise on. But I think it helps if you're doing like testing a few products or one product. You can do a couple of cubic meters, or you can do as low as 1 cubic meter and ship that in. So it depends on how much you've got, and it will always go into New York. So it doesn't change really like the shipping time. So the process would be, we still suggest you do FOB, but the service can handle Ex Works. If you're doing Ex Works, the difference between FOB means that the supplier charges in his cost for that product to deliver those goods to the port. The other benefit of doing FOB is he then needs to supply all the customs clearance documents. So if it's wood, he needs, you need the Lacey Act. If it's candles, you need, certification of the waxes. If it's, feathers or jewelry, there's certain different, lots of paperwork that you need. So the supplier would then just hand those documents over to your freight forwarder. So, but if you do Ex Works, it is a little bit different, where you then have to pay for the transport from the factory to the port, which can be another bit of a shock, because you might think it's only going to cost, $100, but it might be $800 or $900, depending where your factory is to the port and the road transport. Like everywhere in the world, fuel is expensive and road transport has got more expensive, but that's something that you can do, but you would get a separate price from CBM Ship when you start doing this. And they will tell you that it's going to be on top of your shipping cost. You're going to have to pay the extra to the port. So that's one of the things that I think a lot of people will find. At least now you can start with a small amount and know roughly, if you're doing FOB price, and then how much your shipment's going to cost up front, you can work out whether it is a viable thing to do a really small order. So I think people are going to be saving a fortune, because I'll let you know. Go on to the next slide, Megla, so we can tell people how much it is, because they'll get quite a surprise, I think. Oh, hang on. Yeah, so we've got, low-cost shipping items for small orders. Now, it's a port-to-port shipping, so it's from Nava Shiva to New York. There is, at the other end, a cost-effective 3PL storage is available in New Jersey if you require it. You don't have to. It can then be sent straight into New York, from New York into an Amazon warehouse that you get off your shipping plan, but hopefully around New York. And it's in partnership with a company called CBM Ship, which is cubic meter shipping. It's very small by the cubic meter. So a very apt name. So do you want to roll the drum and show them how much it is?
Yes.
Okay, so you can do, for 1 cubic meter, it is $400. So that will cover from the minute they goods get delivered to the port until it is at the other end and cleared customs. On top of that, you will have to pay, if your product has a customs duty applicable, you will pay the customs duty. Now, that is no different to mainstream shipping. If you get a quote from mainstream shipping for a 20-foot container, you still got to pay the duty on top of that. So whatever shipping price you ever get, and nobody knows, and no shipper can ever tell you how much that duty is until it's cleared customs, and customs give over the bill of how much has to be paid. So, I mean, you should know by the HS code, but it's never something that I've never ever paid for my customs duty until it's cleared customs. So that's just the standard thing. So it'll be $400 plus if there is customs duty. Now, if you're wondering, do you pay customs duty in India to the US? Some of my products are 0. Some of mine are 4%. I have never paid more than 4%, but certain products may be up to 7, sort of. It depends, I suppose, really on the type of product, but it's usually, not a really great high. It's not like China where it's 25% or 30%. You'll find most of them are around the 4. You might get 6. And the thing is, you'll need to know your HS code. So that's something that people need to do research on when they are shipping, so they know what their HS code is, because the codes can vary differently. So I might have, I don't know, a jug that I'm shipping. And if I say it's a jug for water consumption, it might be 4%, but if I say it's a jug to hold dry flowers, it might be 0. The HS codes are quite specific. So I think that's just something, and if you're very cagey, so if I've got a jug that's going to be water off, it's always going to carry dried flowers, isn't it? Because then I've got no duty. So it's just what HS code do you actually give it, and provided customs agree with that at the other end. And I mean, they're probably not going to go and work out exactly what you're selling, going to do with it. If it's a jug and you say it's for dried flowers, that will be the code that you get. So that's the only other fee you will have. Then at the other end, you then decide, are you going to go straight into Amazon? So if you are, you can just do your normal shipping plan and get the UPS fees charged to your Amazon account, or you can move the goods from the port to a 3PL warehouse and have the goods stored there, which is part of the service if you want to do that. Or you can then say, no, I want to get my own trucker. If you're silly, I want to get my own trucker and I'm going to truck it wherever. Because why would you do that? Because you have got no knowledge of how to, truck stuff around the US. I wouldn't know where to start, and I've been doing it for a while. So I think you would usually say to CBM, I want it to go here, get me a price, or I want it to go there, but to try and do it yourself. But it is free. Once they're cleared, customs, the products are yours to take where you want. So that's, something else. Now, looking at this costs we've got here. So you've got 1 CBM is 400. So the more you ship, the cheaper it gets. 2 CBM is 750, 3 is 1,000, 4 is 1,100, and 5 is 1,200. So what I would suggest, if you are getting up to around the 5 CBM and you're not sure whether it's going to be as cost effective at 1,200 as it is to do mainstream shipping, I would probably then go and get a quote from our Sea Air, who also do our big container shipments, and just do a comparison and decide how you want to, do it from there. But you can go, to CBM and get a quote and, find out exactly, where you're going to take the goods and what you want to do with it when you get to the other end. So, and how it will work. Now, this is a consolidated shipment. So that means you will not be the importer of record. CBM will ship everything under their name. And then when it gets into New York, the customs duties will be given for each product that's in that shipment. There will be a list that the customs go through, and then appropriately each person will be charged whatever customs duty there is applicable to that. So I think, is there anyone who got any questions about what we said so far? No?
Yeah, I mean, this is for small orders. This is absolutely revolutionary because we've had so many people come to us and say that, hey, I just want to test this product. I want to do a small order, but shipping is so prohibitive. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. And so this is where, this service comes from. So this is really, really going to help people who want to start out and who want to test some products, but shipping costs have been an issue for them in the past. And $400 is nothing. I mean, if you ship the regular way, $750 is basically the minimum charges that you have to pay for documentation. Plus, on top of that, everything else. So 1 CBM would end up costing you, close to like $1,000, $1,200 easily, or probably even more, depending on where it's been shipped.
It's a definite 700 that you can't get out of, and then depending on the weight and the size of your shipment and all the other paperwork that, it's quite complex when you look at your invoice. But it's going to be at least, well around $1,000 for 1 CBM. So it's a huge saving. Huge
exactly.
saving.
And, currently this is offered only to the New York port, but then later on we are going to expand it to other ports as well. And the origin port is Mumbai. So this is Mumbai to New York. Currently, we do not cover other ports. But of course, these are the 2 most commonly used ports when you're importing from India. And so, we should be able to cover 80% of the shipments that are going out of India. Even if you are sourcing from the south, if your factory is based there, you can actually truck the products to Mumbai and then ship it out, put it on a boat from Mumbai to New York, rather than using a port in the south. So that's another way to, utilize this service, even if you're not, even if your factory is not close to Mumbai, you do have the option of trucking the product there.
And I mean, for people who don't know, Mumbai is almost in the middle on on the sort of side of India. So in actual fact, like, you know, my products come out of Moradabad, so they've got quite a journey to go anyway. So it's not uncommon to truck things quite a distance, and that's when I always do FOB, so that's always included in my costs. So you know, but and sometimes you might find, if you're doing a really, really small order, like 100 pieces, that the manufacturer will do FOB for you, but he'll say, look, I have to charge you a minimum of $200 for the shipping, because they know that it's going to cost them a lot of money to ship it, so they can't carry that on just 100, you know, pieces. So that will be something that you would be told from the start, because on a very, very small order, like 100, if you're getting a little bit more than that, it won't, but they'll usually say if it's only like 100 pieces, there's an additional charge. But I mean, that's because they just can't carry that extra cost of the transportation. If you've got them down to a really good price. But I mean, I think they're the things that you should always spell out first. But it's, once again, FOB, you know your cost, you'll know that, they'll tell you that when they come back to you with a price. Whereas if you're doing X works, you're not going to find out that transportation charge until the end. And I don't know really I've never had a manufacturer who won't do FOB. So, and I mean, our team would be able to, I'm sure, negotiate that FOB for you in most instances anyway. So right. I think that's, yeah.
I think we've covered this already.
Yeah.
What's included? Yeah. So customs clearance is included, but customs duties are not included, because there's no way to tell how much your customs duties will be until it clears customs. Okay. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions. We're happy to take questions as well. And if you want to get started, send us an email at info@indiasourcing.net. Let us know, when your shipment is ready, because this does require a bit of coordination, and there is a fine print in terms of, when the shipment needs to be ready, because this is a consolidated service. There is one ship going out, every couple of weeks. And so you need to make sure that you meet the deadline for that ship. If you don't, then you'll have to be on the next ship. So there is a bit of, coordination and logistics involved over here. And we can go through all of that once you reach out to us. Mark, do you want to quickly talk about how, what sort of advance payment needs to be done, or, what happens in different scenarios?
Well, look, I think it's probably quite complex. So I think what I would say is, to me, if you're going to be using this service, you're going to need to allow, and I mean, it's no different once again to mainstream shipping. You need to be your goods will need to be at the port about 7 days before the actual ship is ready to leave, because they have to clear the customs in India. Then the container has to be what they call stuffed. So all the goods have to be put onto that ship, and then it sails. So if, say, you're sailing on the 30th, the goods really need to be at the port about the 23rd, because otherwise you're going to miss that boat. But hopefully, because we would be coordinating this, and if we're doing your sourcing for you as well, it's even going to be a bonus, because our staff can make a note of that. But if you're not, CBM have a manager dedicated to just be handling all this for us. So you will need to, once you sort of say we're going to do this, they will be able to step you through, right, we need it here on this date, who is your supplier? And they will be going back to the supplier and saying, are you going to make that deadline? Are you going to be there? Because we can't just book things onto a ship and then everyone goes, oh, I'm not ready now, because then the whole consignment is going to fall over, because obviously if half the people let the team down, which is happening. So you need to actually I suppose work with CBM ship and your supplier to make sure, if you're doing this yourself, that you're going to make that shipment, because there will be a penalty if you don't. You're going to have to pay a deposit up front to hold that. So I think it's just a matter of coordinating and working together, but CBM ship will be in control of all that, and they will be handling all that. So I think it's just getting yourself organised, and it's no different now. Like, you need to know when your shipment's going to be heading to the port. It needs to be there on a certain date. And if you miss that date, you've missed that boat. And then, you might be waiting for another week or two to get the spot, because even if you're doing large shipments, they don't have room for, the ships are booked out weeks in advance. It's not just they're sitting there waiting for your, 1 cubic metre to go on a ship. So I think it's organisation like everything else. But I think the best thing, if you're interested, is send us some information for a quote, and then CBM Ship will come back to you and they'll go through all how it works, all the costs, all the terms and conditions. But to me, it's a no-brainer if you've got a small shipment. You're just going to save so much money and probably give you a chance to...
Don't call us if it's leaving today and you want it on a ship tomorrow.
It's well and truly organised, and obviously you need all the appropriate paperwork needs to be, ready, so everything is right. But once again, CBM Ship will know exactly what you need for every clearance, depending on the product. They will handle all that paperwork, and so to make sure that you've got everything you need to get out of India, and more importantly, you've got everything you need to get into America, because you don't want to get to the dock and find
UK or whatever the case may be, Mark.
Yeah, well, it could be UK, yeah, but most people at the moment we're only going to the US with this. We can't go to the UK. So so I think it's mainly, if you decide you want to do it, come back to us with some details of the size of your shipment, a day that you think, or a date that you've been told it's going to be ready. And obviously you need to say to your supplier, I need a definite date here, because as we talk about Indian time, and you just have to say to them, look, this is the date I have to have it done by, and I would give myself a week buffer or 2 weeks buffer to be certain.
And the smart manufacturers will probably, make sure it's a couple of weeks more than what it needs to be, so that they know it's definitely going to be done.
Yeah, so I think, but no, I think it's a game changer for a lot of people who want to do either small orders, or who are maybe running out of stock and want to quickly just send a small shipment through quickly, that they can get the manufacturer just to make, they might be doing even for, say, a container load, but they're going to run out. And so instead of waiting for the manufacturer to do that huge amount of product, you might be able to just say, get me so many cartons ready, and you can do a small shipment of that as well. So there is that option as well for people to do that, to to get some goods in that, because you can't always afford to airship everything in, but it might save people who are waiting on a really big order if they can just send part of it in. Or even if you're smart, you might talk to your supplier and say, can you hold some over there for me for a little while, and can I just send a smaller shipment? You'd have to do your homework on the cost. But
feed them into consolidation,
yeah, so it's an option, but that's something you need to work out the cost, whether it's cost effective to do that, depending on the size of the shipment you've got, and the storage fee should be paying on the other side. So there's quite a few options for this service. But I think there'll be a lot of people very happy with this, because they've probably been paying $1,200 to send a cubic metre or...
Exactly. So guys, there you have it. We have announced 2. I'm just going to remove this screen here. So there you have it. 2 services for the community, done for you sourcing and shipment consolidation. So not one, but 2 services. Exactly. And let us know if you have any questions, or reach out to us at info@indiasourcing.net. And we are here to help support you. We want you to have a very smooth experience when you're sourcing from India, and we are here to help ensure that. And do check out our website, indiasourcing.net/done for you. And for shipment consolidation, send us an email at info@indiasourcing.net. Tell us your requirements, and we will help you with your sourcing. Okay. Anything else you want to add, Marg and Kev, before we sign off?
Oh, I don't think so. I think people might start looking differently at how they can source from India now, though, because it does give them a few different options.
Two great services, and they offer people, a new way of doing things. And I think, folks just got to check it all out and have a look at it, and hopefully it can be of assistance to you.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so we'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And we look forward to helping you in your India sourcing journey. Thank you very much. We'll
Absolutely.
see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.